Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our very first Q&A. This is the first video and maybe the start of our series where I go over your questions that you asked me on X and I answer them here on YouTube. If you want to be a part of the next Q&A, please make sure to follow me on Twitter at Dante on Deck. And while you're at it, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Put in the comments what other content you would like to see from me, and let's just jump into it. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Let's answer some questions. If there was one wrestling show you could have been live at, what would it be? Easily for me, Jeff Hardy winning the WWE Championship at Armageddon 2008. There's a lot of great events, I can probably list off a few WrestleManias that I would have loved to have been to. But seeing Jeff Hardy win his first world championship in front of that crowd, I remember watching that pay-per-view with my best friend in the basement and just had tears going down my eyes when he won. I can only imagine what I would have been like if I was live there, so that is my easy answer. What was the first match event that you remember watching? I remember scrolling through cable when I was like 6 or 7 years old, coming across Friday Night SmackDown right before bedtime, and I believe it was Kane and the Undertaker, Brothers of Destruction, and it was against a tag team of like Booker T and Finlay, or maybe like Mr. Kennedy and MVP. It's two of those four. I don't know which combination it is, but that is the first match that I do remember watching, and that's all it took. I was hooked after that. So, is there a video game franchise that you love? Personally, I love the Assassin's Creed series. I love Lego Star Wars. Lego Star Wars is one of, if not the greatest video game ever created. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna say this. Some of you might not like it. I have only seen 2 Star Wars movies. Well, technically 1.5. I kept falling asleep during the first one, the very first one. Not like, well, yeah, it's like 4, but it was the very first one released. It confuses the shit out of me. I respect Star Wars. I'm not saying I hate it. It's just so hard for me to get into it, but I know everything that happens because of Lego Star Wars. So it is funny how I haven't watched the movies. I still know what goes on. Because of Lego Star Wars, I have probably played and completed that game at least 10, 15 times growing up, and still as an adult, it is fun to go back and play. So I would say Lego Star Wars. If you could change the outcome to any booking decision, match, storyline, etc., what would it be? This is a hard-hitting question because there are plenty of instances where we can go back in and change history. I think of John Cena beating the Nexus. That definitely shouldn't have happened. I think of Triple H beating Booker T. That definitely shouldn't have happened. I think of Mr. Kennedy losing the Money in the Bank to Edge because they thought he was hurt, but really, he was really not that hurt, and he definitely could have held on to the briefcase and not miss any time. I'm having a hard time even thinking of this because I was going to say Undertaker's streak, Brock Lesnar beating him, but I feel like that was like, later in the Undertaker's career. It's not like he lost at 15-0 or something, and it's what could have been. Like, the streak was 21-0 at that point. I'm not happy the Undertaker that he lost, but I don't know if that's what I would reverse or change. This might not be my final answer, but this is definitely something I wish they did differently in the moment. This is more recent, so the people aren't going to agree with this. People might understand where I'm coming from. I'm going Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. When Brock Lesnar did beat Roman Reigns, I'm going to say that because, first of all, Roman Reigns should have won. There was no way Brock Lesnar should have retained there, even though they busted Roman Reigns open and made Brock Lesnar look like a motherfucking beast. He threw the belt at Vince afterwards. I don't know. I don't understand why they pushed Roman Reigns up so much just for him to lose in the main event of WrestleMania against the guy that he couldn't beat 4 years prior or 3 years prior at 31. I'm going to say that. Is that my overall final answer? Probably not. I listed some really good ones before, but at the top of my head, I'm just going to roll with this one. Favorite wrestling match of all time and dream country you would like to travel to? Okay, 2 very different questions. My favorite wrestling match of all time. I can throw out a few different matches that I feel like I go back to a lot, and it's like I find comfort in, right? I can just throw it on the background of a TV and just do anything else. I'm going to say the 2008 Royal Rumble. Now, that might seem like out of left field. Maybe it's a cheat code because I'm picking a multi-man Royal Rumble match, but I'm a sucker for Royal Rumble matches. If I were to pick any other one, I'd probably pick some sort of ladder match, a Money in the Bank match, but that 2008 Royal Rumble, it was one of the very first pay-per-views that me and my friend got, well, our parents got us when we were kids. That Rumble was stacked. That match was filled with surprises, and of course, John Cena returns at the end, the cherry on top of the sundae. I'm going to go with the 2008 Royal Rumble. I find myself going back and watching that a lot. In which country, dream country I would like to travel to? Italy, for sure. There's a lot of places in Italy I would love to check out. Definitely at the top of my bucket list of places to travel, just overall, not even just dream country, just in any place in the world. Italy is my number one. Zachary says, I am in my third year of college, and like many people I know, we are unsure of what we are doing outside of college. I just recently switched my major to sociology because I prefer it, but overall, I just do not know what I want to do post-graduation. Any thoughts, advice? Zachary, first of all, thank you for this comment. I appreciate you, wanting to get an answer out of me for this. And this Q&A too, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, this is like for wrestling, personal life, really anything. Ask me any questions you want. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm an open book. I like talking about wrestling and other things. So, but Zachary, listen, man, you are not alone. I would find comfort in knowing that you are one of many, many people out there that are in the same boat. It's scary. It can be hard to, put together your life and figure out what you want to do, what you truly want to do, and what you're going to do post-graduation. That's very scary. I graduated in 2020. I never even walked a stage because it was during COVID, and I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't get a legit job until like October of that year. And just like you, I really had no idea what I was going to do. I had my degree and I knew what I wanted to do, but there weren't many available options to me. Just take it one day at a time. I really think that everything happens for a reason. I think you will figure it out. I think your friends will figure it out. It's just, it takes time. You need to have patience for things like this. Some people know what they want to do in college, before college, and right after college, they have things lined up. But that's not everyone's case, and that's okay. Everyone's different. Everyone's journey is different. You just have to trust your journey and that you're going to make it wherever you're meant to make it. Chase your passion. Do what you want to do. If you feel passionate about something, go after that. And if you feel stuck or you're doing something you don't want to do, try to switch it up. Don't get caught up in a cycle where you're just lost or whatever. You're in your third year of college, man. I know college is coming close to an end, but you're still so young and you have so much time left to figure things out. So I wish you the best of luck and keep me updated. Do you think you got to be a wrestling geek to run a wrestling YouTube channel? Because I've seen negative comments about people in your SEW videos that you guys don't know most of the wrestling history. Not saying I'm one of them, but just asking you curious. What is your POV on this? I'll say it, guys. I'm not the most knowledgeable wrestling fan in the world. I'm 26 years old, born in 1998. I started watching wrestling in late 06, 07. So hands up, I haven't seen every single wrestling match in history. I haven't watched every single event pre my birth. It's hard enough keeping up with what's going on right now because there's so much wrestling to watch on a weekly basis. But it's hard to go back and revisit a lot of these events and these big matches. I have gone back and watched, historical matches, some of the greatest matches of all time, but it takes up a lot of time. And I hate to be that guy, but it's like I have other things going on in my life, right? It's like wrestling is a big part of my life, but it is not my life. I have other things going on where I'm not always watching wrestling. In my free time, I might not want to go back and watch a wrestling match. I might want to go and play video games with my friends or something like that, or hang out with my girlfriend, whatever it may be. I see comments in our videos of people saying like, oh, how do you not know this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's an age gap, right? I mean, some of the people that watch our videos are much older than me and were around during those times. So it's like, I don't like comments bother me first and foremost, but like when I see comments of people that are like, I know are older fans and criticizing us not knowing or watching old matches, it's like, well, I wasn't around during that time. If I was alive in the 90s or 80s, yeah, I would have watched all that shit. Just like now that I'm alive now, I've seen all the big matches and events of the last 15, 20 years because it's my era. At the end of the day, I'd be the first to admit that I'm not the most knowledgeable wrestling fan, and that's okay. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to watch every single match or have seen every single match. That means that there's so much more to learn and so much more to watch, and that's exciting. Hey Dante, huge fan. If Pope Francis and the Dalai Lama ever found themselves in a conflict, do you think they'd resolve it in a rap battle or with a rap battle? If so, who do you think would come out on top and why? Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Okay. If they ever found themselves in a conflict, do you think they resolve it in a rap battle? Why not? I feel like that's the best way to resolve feuds. We see how it worked with Drake and Kendrick. The thing is, Pope Francis, he's got God on his side, so I feel like he can say a quick prayer up to heaven. God will trickle down some bars, some words for him to spit. Dalai Lama, though, I feel like he's got He might have like a little black book of like raps and stuff that he's put together over the years. I can see him being like a Eminem or Stan in that Stan music video where he's in his basement writing notes on his table. I can see Dalai Lama doing that in his free time, just putting together some bars. Who would come out on top? I mean, I did say Pope Francis has God on his side, but if Dalai Lama has been putting in that work and does have those raps that I was talking about, could be hard to beat him. But I mean, this is gonna be a multiple round thing. Who would win the war? I don't know, but I think Dalai Lama might have the leg up on the first round. If you could pick 3 different wrestlers to inspire your moveset in the ring, which 3 would you pick? I definitely am gonna pick Seth Rollins because he has a good mix of like high flying, technical. He can do everything in the ring. As weird as it sounds, I'm probably gonna go Randy Orton for my next one because he's very slow and maniacal, and he's very good at storytelling in the ring and getting people's emotions through every little small step, action. He's very good at every move he makes matters. So I'm gonna pick Randy for my second. And then my third, I'm picking Jeff Hardy. I mean, who am I kidding? Get the high flying moveset in there. I wanna be jumping off ladders, through tables, put my body through hell for the fans. Yeah, I'd go Jeff, Randy, Seth. If you were paid $1,000, would you shave your mustache? If someone Venmo'd me $1,000 right now, I'd shave my fucking head, okay? What are some of your favorite pastimes, hobbies outside of wrestling? I love playing video games with my friends. I love spending time with my girlfriend, doing anything with her, whether it's watching movies, playing video games with her, taking a walk, going out to eat, anything with Taylor, I love doing. Going to the movie theaters, I love watching movies, but I especially love going to a movie theater, and I love going to Chili's. What, in your opinion, is the best way for AEW to get back to selling out weekly venues? Go to smaller venues. I don't want to sound like a hater. I know I do see comments of people thinking that I am a huge WWE fanboy and I hate AEW. I don't think that's the case. Do I prefer WWE over AEW? I do, because I've always watched WWE. That's just my comfort, what I fall back on, and that's just what I grew up watching that I personally prefer. I don't have an issue with AEW. It's okay for me to criticize them when I feel like they need to be criticized. Their product hasn't been that strong. Their storytelling hasn't been that strong. The wrestling is phenomenal. I'm not gonna knack or discredit anyone in AEW. I think that is filled with some of the most talented wrestlers in the world. It does look bad when you go to a big venue and you're not selling it out or there's a ton of empty seats. I think if they just go to smaller venues that are more intimate, I think that's great for the crowd. It looks better on TV, and I think it just overall makes the show better. So if I have to start somewhere, go to smaller weekly venues. I think it will help a ton, especially with the presentation on TV. A few more questions here, then we'll wrap this up. Would you like to get back into the wrestling ring, and if so, who would be your opponent? I would like to get back in the wrestling ring. It is something that takes a lot of time. It's something that takes a lot of training, a lot of effort, and a lot of planning. I had an absolute blast in my first match with John, but it is, again, it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you. So I would love to do it. We have to plan it out. That needs to be right, needs to make sense. As far as who my opponent would be, that's whoever decides to step up. You drink a lot of Dunkin' in the Stash Club videos. Have you tried the Sabrina Carpenter drink? What is your go-to drink from Dunkin'? I have not tried the Sabrina Carpenter drink. It does look good though. My go-to drink, you're asking for a lot here. This is something that I have been withholding for a while, but this is a fine place to admit it. I get a medium to large iced coffee. The flavoring can be, depending on the season or what I'm feeling, I'll say caramel, because that's what I usually get. Almond milk, 4 Splenda, and an espresso shot. The reason why I get extra Splenda is to equal out the espresso shot. I need an espresso shot in my coffee because whenever I get it, it is very early in the morning, and I have a long drive ahead of me. Not a long drive, but I have a good drive ahead of me. I need the caffeine. Would you ever listen to all of Logic's albums projects and rank them like you did for Cole in that video? Also, what do you think of Logic and how long have you been listening to him? I'm a Logic fan. I think Under Pressure is one of the best modern rap albums to come out in the last 10, 20 years personally. I think he's got a great body of work. His last Ultra 85 album I thought was superb and the best album he's come out with in years. But I loved College Park. I loved Vinyl Days. The Bobby Tarantino series is great. No Pressure. I mentioned Under Pressure, but No Pressure is really good too. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Young Sinatra 4, there's some good songs on there though. I love 100 Miles and Running and Young Sinatra 4. Everybody, that's the hit or miss one. The Incredible True Story I thought was great. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you, he really doesn't have many bad albums. I don't know why people really shit on him maybe as much as they did. I'm not the biggest Logic fan in the world. I don't know the lore or really followed him from the beginning, but I've been a Logic fan since probably college. As far as making a video, that J. Cole video, I'll admit, flopped. Didn't do well at all. So I don't know. I would like to do more music videos, but I don't know how people would how people would like them. Last question that we have here, who's someone you know, it can be anyone, who you think has all the potential in pro wrestling? It can be anyone. It can be my best friend. It can be an actor. It can be a musician. I'm going to say Logan Paul. Now, a lot of people might not like that answer, but man, say what you want about him outside of the ring. I'm not here to talk about him as a person. I'm here to talk about him as a WWE superstar, and he is uber talented. He is more talented than a lot of the people in backstage, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Logan Paul is a natural athlete. He has a gift, and if he committed to WWE full-time, I'm not saying he'd be the face of the company or anything like that, or even that I'd want that, but he could be a big-time star, and I think he would definitely be a future world champion. If Logan Paul commits to this world time, I think the sky is the absolute limit for him as a WWE superstar. So there are all your questions. There obviously were some that I left off. If you guys want me to make a series out of this, I would love doing a Q&A. Questions about wrestling, non-wrestling, personal life things that you have going on in your life that you'd like to get my advice for, I'd be happy to answer it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Please make sure to like, subscribe, put in the comments again what other videos you'd like to see from me. And, you know, if you want to see another Q&A video like this, check out Talking to Myself that comes out every single Monday here on YouTube and on audio-only platforms. I hope you have a great rest of the day. I'll see you all week. Peace out.